this is video number 445, and in this video I am going to explain demand relationship among various goods. So let me start with some background information. Let us suppose that there are only two goods in the world. One is X and the other one is Y, where Y is the composite good which represents the rest of the goods in the world. So we assume that we have only two goods, X and Y, and the economic agent, in this case consumer, has a fixed money budget which is represented by I naught in this figure. So this is the original budget line and this is original budget line in these two panels. Now this figure shows two examples of how the quantity of X chosen might be affected by a change in the price of Y. So we see that there is no change in the price of of X here. So this horizontal intercept remains the same. Similarly, here in this panel the horizontal intercept remains the same. Actually, price of Y decreases. So in this panel the budget line shifts from I naught to I1. Similarly, in this panel, due to decline in the price of Y, the budget line shifts outward from I naught to I1. So this is the new budget line. In both these panels, price of Y has gone down, and this has resulted in shifting of the budget line outward from I naught to I1, as I mentioned earlier. In both the cases, quantity of good chosen has also increased from Y naught to Y1 as a result of the decline in the price of Y, and as this would be expected if Y is a normal good. Since Y is a normal good, so in both the panel, due to decrease in the price of Y, quantity of Y has increased. Here it has increased from Y naught to Y1, and here it has also increased from Y naught to I1. So this means that Y is a normal good. We will also analyze what happens to the quantity demanded or consumed of X due to decline in the price of Y commodity. So for good X, the results shown in these two panels are different. In panel A, the substitution effects are small, so the quantity of X consumed increases along with Y. So it means that although price of X remains the same, only price of Y has decreased. So there is not only increase in the consumption of Y, there is also increase in the consumption of X vis-a-vis Y. So since this change in X due to change in price of Y is negative, so X and Y are termed as gross complement. So this panel A shows that X and Y are gross complements. In panel B, the substitution effects are large, so that the quantity of X chosen falls, since in this case change in the quantity of X demanded due to change in the price of Y is positive. So X and Y would be termed as gross substitutes. So this is clear in these two panels. Here in this case X and Y are gross complements, but in this case X and Y are gross substitutes. We may further analyze this situation. Whether two goods are substitutes or complements can be established by referring to observed price reactions as follows. Two goods Xi and Xj are said to be gross substitutes if partial of Xi with respect to price of j is positive, that is, it is greater than 0, and they would be termed gross complements if partial of Xi with respect to price of j is negative. That is, two goods are gross substitutes if a rise in the price of one good causes more of the other good to be bought. The goods are gross complements if a rise in the price of one good causes less of the other good to be purchased. For example, if the price of coffee rises, the demand for tea might be expected to increase, and in that case coffee and tea are termed as substitutes, whereas the demand for cream or milk might decrease, and if this is so, then coffee and cream or milk are termed as complement goods. In addition to grass complements and grass substitutes, we may also have a situation in which goods can be termed as net substitutes and net complements. Because of the possible asymmetries involved in the definition of grass substitutes and complements, an alternative definition that focuses only on substitution effect is often used. Because the previous analyses showed that X and Y in the panel A were grass substitutes, whereas in the panel B, X and Y were grass substitutes, but actually there may be other kind of relationship if we consider net substitutes and net complements. And goods Xi and Xj are said to be substitutes if partial of Xi with respect to price of j, keeping utility level constant, that is along the compensated demand curve, if that is greater than 0. So if change in the quantity of Xi due to a unit change in the price of j good is positive along the compensated demand curve, then I and j are said to be net substitutes. If partial of Xi with respect to price of j along the compensated demand curve is less than 0, then I and j, that is Xi and Xj, are termed as net complements. So we have 4 different terms: grass substitutes, grass complements, net substitutes and net complements. Once Xi and Xj have been discovered to be substitutes, they stay substitutes no matter in which direction the definition is applied. As a matter of fact, the definitions are perfectly symmetric, and the symmetry is here, that is partial of Xi with respect to price of j along the compensated demand curve when the utility remains constant is equal to partial of Xj with respect to price of I along the compensated demand curve when utility remains the same, are exactly equal to each other. The substitution effect of a change in the price of Xi on the amount of Xj is identical to the substitution effect of a change in the price of Xj on the quantity consumed of Xi chosen. This symmetry is important in both theoretical and empirical work. The difference between the two definitions of substitutes and complements are easily demonstrated in a figure below in panel A. So look at this figure. In this figure, X and Y are grass complements here in the grass complements, but they are net substitutes. In this panel A, by the definition that we presented earlier, X and Y are termed as grass complements, but they are actually net substitutes. The derivative partial of X with respect to price of Y is negative. X and Y are grass complements. Because the positive substitution effect is outweighed by the negative income effect, a fall in the price of Y causes real income to increase greatly, and consequently actual purchases of X increases. So here, although they are grass complements, but actually good X and Y are net substitutes. However, as the figure makes it clear, if there are only 2 goods in the world from which to choose, they must be net substitutes, although they may be either grass substitutes or grass complements. Because we have assumed a diminishing marginal rate of substitution between these 2 goods, the own price substitution effect must be negative, and consequently the cross price substitution effect must be positive. Here we can briefly explain net substitutes and net complements. In this panel, if we look at these budget line, the 2 budget line, the slope of this one is less than the slope of this one. So in this case, if there is an increase in the price of good 2, that would lead to increase in quantity of X1, then good 1 and good 2, that is Xi and Xj are termed as net substitutes, and net complements mean 2 goods X1 and X2 may be defined as net complements if an increase in the price of good 2 leads to a decrease in the compensated demand for good 1, that is dx1 divided by dp2 along the compensated demand curve is less than 0. So that would imply that x1 and x2 are net complements. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very informative analysis about the demand relationship among goods regarding gross substitutes, gross complements, net substitutes, and net complements. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, kindly do subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click on the bell icon so that you can get regular notifications and information about my videos that will be uploaded for you. I thank you very much for watching this channel and this video. Kindly share various videos of this channel in various WhatsApp groups so that this could reach to the maximum possible number of people. Thank you very much for watching. And